Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. In our last video, we took on Victory Road and had a very difficult time with the Elite Four, mostly Agatha and onwards. But we were able to defeat all of them, including our rival Gary. And now that our Pokédex has been updated to house the national Dex, we can now head back to the Sevi Islands to help Celio with his network machine. Yeah, but first I gotta get Farfetch'd into my team. Anyhow, as we begin today's episode, remember as always to show your support for the channel by hitting that like button, commenting, and subscribing. Alright, now we'll just fly over to Viridian City here. Or Vermilion City, I should say. Yeah, now we'll head over to one island and talk with Celio. Mostly all we'll do with today's episode is just helping Celio boost the power of his network machine. Yeah, in order to help boost the network machine, we gotta find Celio a ruby and a sapphire. Fortunately, I know that there's a ruby over in Mount Ember that we can help ourselves to. Yeah, but we just gotta get through Ember Path here and all of that. Yeah, I managed to avoid that guy. I can't remember if I battled him or not. Alright, I don't need any more Psyduck. And the area of Mount Ember that we're going to be accessing today will afford us the chance to add at least two new Fire-type Pokemon to our team. Mainly the Johto Pokemon, Slugma and Macargo. But more than likely, we'll only be able to encounter Slugma. Because Macargo can only be found by Rock Smash, and it doesn't appear that much. I think it's only like either a 5% or a 1% encounter. Either way, it's rare. Yeah, we just have to get through this swimmer girl and continue on to Mount Ember. Alright, that takes care of her, so now we can continue onward. Yeah. And there's some Team Rocket grunts right there. Goldeen need log. Yeah, these guys are a little stronger than the Team Rocket grunts that that we fought in Kanto, but their Pokemon are still no match for ours. Alright, I'll stick with Lapras for right now. Alright, and that takes care of this first guy. Yeah, we're not going to be developing amnesia anytime soon there, bud. Yeah, of course we're going to eavesdrop on you, especially if you're up to no good. Excuse me. It's very burpy right now. And this guy is a real piece of work using a Cubone and a Marowak. Especially after what his buds did with that one Marowak in Lavender Town. Yeah, we're gonna step right in here. Yeah, just to spite you guys. A lot of Geodude. You think we have run into at least one Slugma by now. Okay, and here's another strength puzzle. Fortunately, we've got Machamp on our side. Oh, come on, give me a Slugma. I mean, sure, I never really used it growing up playing these games, but still. Ah, there we go. And this one's pretty low level. I better go ahead and use an Ultra Ball on it. And I can't risk using any of my stronger Mons. Alright, 1, 2, 3. Bingo. Yeah, growing up, I was never able to get past the Elite Four growing up, so I never ever made it to the post game until there was one time, well, 1 year some time ago when I actually was able to do so. Hang on, I think I might have made a wrong turn somewhere. Ooh, and this one's a stronger one. I'll go ahead and try and catch it. At least then I'd have a better chance of trying to evolve it into my cargo, but I managed to knock it out. And with a flamethrower, no less. Alright, I think heading down this ladder here will take us to the deepest part of this cave. 1, 2. Okay, I almost had it that time. One, 2, 3. Got it. And another good thing about having a slugma, we'll be able to hatch eggs that we get from the daycare center more easily. And there's the visual braille. And right here is the ruby. Yeah, I don't know what any of that says, so I'll probably just I'll look it up and put it in the video in post when I'm editing it. And now we can get out of here and get this ruby back to Celio. I almost forgot about the escape ropes. Yep, there's the ruby, Celio. Yeah, the Sevi. Yeah, it's the sapphire we need to continue on. All right. First, we'll head over to 4 Island. Oh, and here's Gary. Yeah, and for those in the know, should know that it's 4 Island where Elite Four Lorelei is from. Whoops, did not mean to do that. Alright, I'll go ahead and swap out Farfetch'd for Scyther, because there's going to be quite a lot of ice Pokemon in the Icefall Cave that I'm going to be trying to catch. And right here is the daycare center where we can go and breed for eggs. As long as we have Pokemon with compatible egg groups, or a Ditto in my case, since it's much more convenient to do. Oh, hang on. I'm gonna switch Charizard with Scyther. Yeah, if we surf around here for a little while, we could end up finding the version exclusive Wooper. And yeah, just like that. Of course, if we're playing Leaf Green, the only Pokemon we'll be able to find is Meryl. And it's a good thing that Scyther knows how to use False Swipe. Now I can catch as many low-level Pokemon as I want without actually knocking them out. And technically there is one more Johto Pokemon we can encounter over in the first set of the Sevi Islands. Mainly Dunsparce on 3 Island. Oh, a seal. But I've already got a seal, so there's no reason for me to try and catch this one. And I don't need any Zubat. Yes, I remember these ice puzzles very well. Mainly from my time trying to battle against Juan or Wallace in the Sutopolis Gym in Hoenn. Yeah, there we go. Alright, I got us the Never Melt Ice. This might take a while. Yeah, there we go. Alright, and here's the HM for Waterfall. I can't forget that item there. At least now this gives us the opportunity to head up this waterfall here. Though I am pretty sure that this is the only waterfall in the Kanto region. Or in Leaf Green and FireRed, I should say. And since Hydro Pump isn't very... maybe powerful, but it's not accurate. So I'll go ahead and have Lapras learn Waterfall. Yeah, now we can ride up the waterfall there and continue looking around. Yeah, and here's Lorelei. Yeah, anyone can tell you that you're not supposed to buy or sell Pokemon. It's not ethical. Alright. Alright, he's got 2 Zubats, so I think I'll stick with Scyther for now. So far, it's doing pretty good on its own. Again, against just a bunch of Zubat. Oh, and he's got a Golbat. And of course, you're coming at me with Air Cutter. Yeah, and you can also catch Swinub in the Icefall Cave. Yeah, Lorelei is vicious when it comes to protecting Ice-type Pokemon. Though it is understandable. Yeah, given that it's her home. Ah, and here's our little Swinub. Okay. Quick Fury Cutter. And now Swinub is weak enough to try and catch. And I managed to freeze our Scyther in one Powder Snow. Yeah, there we go. I guess that's all the catches we can do on 4 islands, so I guess it's off to 5 Island next. But before we do anything else, I'm gonna go and heal up my Pokemon, so I'll be right back. Okay, the team's all healed up, so now we can continue onward. Alright, next up is 5 Island, so I'll just enter there and set my spawn point. Yeah, we've got some real troublemakers with Team Rocket here on 5 Island. Yeah, no one should have to get out of here because you say it. Time we taught you a lesson. Yeah, right down there is our first instance of female grunts in Team Rocket. And here's a Sentret. I kind of like how when they designed the Johto games, they decided to make a Tanuki the early route to normal type for Johto. Ooh, a Hoppip. Again, Once again, I'll go ahead and take it. Of course, it's gonna hit us with poison powder. I'll just use a full restore on Scyther. And here's where the warehouse is. So let's just take care of this guy and see if we can't try to bust in. Yeah, I guess that's how Memento works in, or how the animation is for Memento in these games. At least that took care of, coughing first for us. Yeah, Goldini log. And we're gonna need 2 passwords for to access the warehouse. Yeah, I'm only going down here to Memorial Pillar so I can get the metal coat. Yeah, it's right here. I'm gonna need to duplicate this item so I can get Scizor. Here lies Tectonics, engraved on a boulder. Lemonade. Yeah, if we put a lemonade on Memorial Pillar right there, on that grave there, the guy there will give us the TM for Facade. Pretty handy in terms of attack power, especially if the Pokemon using it is suffering from a status condition like poison or paralysis. There's no real reason for us to stick around here any longer, so I'm gonna head on. So I'm gonna take us onward to 6 Island. But maybe I'll swing by the Water Labyrinth first. Just so that we can pick something up. But before I do anything else, I'm changing up my team. Alright. I'm pretty sure I won't need Machamp for quite a while. I think I can leave Dragonite in the box for the time being. But for now, I'm gonna need my Slugma. Especially if it has Flame Body. Yep. almost forgot. I need to get far-fetched. Yeah, or Chiding, as the case would be. Yeah, I'll... Alright, that took a little bit longer than I would have liked, but... at least we made it to this guy. Yeah, if we talk to this guy, he'll give us an egg that'll hatch into a Togepi. And this is also part of the reason why I wanted to get Chiding out of the boxes, so I wouldn't have to go through all of Water Labyrinth there. Alright, once again, I'll set my spawn point, and here's Gary. Yeah, now we just have to head down this way. Alright, switch over to Charizard. Because I would much rather not have Slugma get knocked out. I mean, I'm not sure if... I mean, I'm fairly certain that that won't affect how the egg would hatch faster, but still that thing about me, because not wanting to let my Pokemon get KO'd. Okay, at least Meowth got hit with Flame Body. Before we continue onward, I'm gonna go down here to get a Dragon Scale. We'll need that to evolve a Seadra into Kingdra. Of course, any trade evolutions I do are gonna be dealt off screen. Oh yeah, and this guy here. I really thought I could avoid getting spotted by him. I'll switch with Lapras for this battle. Okay, I wasn't able to hit with Sheer Cold. Alright, might as well switch over to Surf. Yeah, of course that that last revenge dealt Lapras in, or did Lapras in, I should say. Alright, before I move on, I'm healing up my team. There we go. And just in case, I'm gonna have Slugma learn Rock Smash. Ugh. Alright, welcome to Ruin Valley. Ooh, a Yanma. Yeah, we're gonna have to do a lot of walking with the egg. With the egg in our party so it can hatch. Fortunately with Yanma in our, or Slugma in our team, it shouldn't be too difficult. But of course, Yanma here wants to be difficult with being caught. 2. Alright, let's do this. 1, 2, 3. Yes. Yeah, just avoid these hiker dudes. Alright, I know that visual braille is for cut. All we gotta do is just use cut on the door and we can enter the dotted hole. And here's a most difficult puzzle right here, especially for those who don't know how to read the visual braille. But I kind of do have a good idea on how to use it. I just count the number of spaces, visual braille spaces, and then go based on that. And this guy here's oh, he just stole the sapphire! Yeah, not chancy. Well, we gotta chase after him to get that sapphire back. Alright, back to 5 Island for us. Now, before we go and storm the Team Rocket warehouse, I'm gonna heal up our team. Yeah, so now that our team's healed up, we can go and trash the warehouse. Ugh. Excuse me. Oh, come on! Yeah, I was really trying to avoid getting spotted by her, but it always seems like whenever we try to run past someone, they always turn in our direction. Alright, next up is Gloom. Yeah, we can just one-shot all our Pokemon with one flamethrower each. Yeah, not really much of a challenge there. Alright, here we are in the Rocket Warehouse, and as you can see, we've got yet another floor tile puzzle. Yeah, at least in here we can nab ourselves an upgrade, which is what we need in order to evolve our Porygon into Porygon 2. Alright, I think we can go through here and... Yep, now we just gotta step carefully around each one of these. Yeah, we can also nab up Sludge Bomb. Yeah, it looks like these guys might be the last remaining members of Team Rocket in Kanto, or really in the Sevi Islands. Well, it really doesn't matter that much, since all we gotta do is take them out and take these guys out and get the Sapphire back, and then we can get it back to Celio, who can finish up his machine. Yeah, Giovanni's abandoned Team Rocket, so there's not really much you can do as far as having faith in him. Let's go for Dragon Claw to finish off Muck. And of course she's going to use a Hyper Potion. Let's see how you do against Blast Burn. Alright, and I gotta switch over to Lapras since, given the drawback of Blast Burn. Yeah, there we go. A one-hit KO from Sheer Cold. Now I'll just blast Vileplume with Ice Beam, and hopefully that should be enough to take it down. Okay, so it wasn't enough, but Vileplume was still able. We were still able to freeze Vileplume solid. Yeah, you should definitely take a look at my badge case, because then you'll see that all of those quote-unquote lies that we're spreading about Team Rocket disbanding is nothing but cold, hard fact. Yeah, we'll use Rock Slide to put some serious hurting on Golbat. And of course you're gonna use a Hyper Potion. Come on, Charizard. I need you to come through for me here. Alright, well if you can use potions, then we'll use a full restore. At least that'll cure Charizard of its confusion. Only now Charizard is poisoned. Great. Alright, I'll stick with Charizard for the time being. Hopefully it'll last long enough to help finish off this battle. Unless Weezing's explosion knocks it out immediately. Houndoom. I wish it was easier to encounter Pokemon like Houndoom in these games, or also Houndour, because that's one of my favorite evolutionary lines, especially from the Johto era. Yep, it's true, alright, man. Yeah, no doubt that was, Archer, the Pokemon executive of Team Rocket. Alright, my team is fully healed, so... So now all we gotta do is take down this guy and take back the sapphire he stole. Alright, this guy's Pokemon are all significantly lower level than mine are, especially compared to Archer's there. Especially his Houndoom, which was level 55. All I gotta do is keep hammering away with Flamethrower and take down his team. Alright, and his last Pokemon is a Porygon. Yeah, I think he might be the only trainer in these games who actually has a Porygon, as far as NPCs are concerned. But he was still pretty weak as far as trainers go. Alright, at least now we've got the Sapphire back safe and sound. Now we'll head back to 5 Islands and take the boat back over to 1 Island. Whoop, did not mean to do that. Yeah, at least now we can... Alright, now that we've shown him the tickets for both Naval Rock and Birth Island, we can now access those places. But those won't happen until the next video, because now we gotta hand over the Sapphire to Celio. Yeah, now the machine is linked up with the Hoenn region. Thanks to us helping him connect with Lynette. Yeah, I really do hope that they port the Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald games to the Switch 2 and the Switch 1, because that gives us a whole lot of opportunities to add some more Pokemon to our team. But anyhow, that should do it for this video. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. And remember, as always, to show your support for the channel by hitting that like button, commenting, and subscribing. And in the next video, we're gonna continue with exploring the Sevi Islands and catching all of the legendary Pokemon that we now have access to. But until then, peace out.